Hi, and welcome to another edition of ACRP TV. I'm Michael Causey, editor-in-chief here at ACRP, and this is our spotlight on how to market your site. We've got a really interesting guest with us today with some innovative ideas and a very interesting philosophy about how to market the site. Her name is Jill Heinz. She's the president of the Family Care Research in Boise, Idaho. Jill, I want to thank you for joining us. And of course, we're in an unusual time right now with COVID, but that's going to change. Hopefully it's going to go away, and we do need to be thinking about marketing now and in the future. So you and I were talking a little bit before we got on air here about your approach to marketing, and you have kind of a different take on it than some people. So talk about that a little bit.
So marketing right now is the best time, right? Because we're all stuck to our computers and phones on social media in our homes. So I feel like this is actually a great time to still market your site, even if you don't have studies going. And so that is kind of the approach we took about a year ago. In our industry, study sponsors tend to push out a lot of ad material to sites, from flyers, posters, brochures, even social media, Google AdWords, but it's geared towards the study they're trying to enroll. Don't fault them for that. That's a brilliant plan. They even make a study website, all of that. But then when the study ends in the year or 2 years or even 5 years, sites like mine are starting all over again, trying to recruit for another study. So what I looked at about a year ago was thinking, why are we branding the sites, or the studies? Why don't we brand our site instead? So we started kind of modeling what the study sponsors were doing. There's a lot of very smart people and marketing people behind those campaigns. So we, of course, have a website, but the number one thing I think every website that is owned by a site needs is to have an opt-in page where when patients see you and are interested in one of your studies, they can go there and then they can put their information in and they automatically get dumped into your database and they become somebody you can call for future studies, even if they're not currently enrolling in a study at that moment. The other thing we did is we ramped up our social media presence. We always had a Facebook page, but to grow a Facebook page organically, that's a business page, is very difficult. So we paid a couple $100, had a photographer come in, take pictures of our site and our staff doing what we do, and we made a generic Facebook ad that, again, not site specific or study specific, it was site specific. Here's who we are, here's what we do. And we did pay for Facebook advertising. And I did want to get metrics for you on this. So in October 2018, prior to that, we had 50 page likes. And that's hard to get, again, organically. After the Facebook ad, we went up to 430 people that like our business page.
Wow.
And now when we don't run the ad, we're still, because so many people see our information, we're continuously getting people now over to that opt-in page on our website. We went from having about one patient every 2 to 3 months coming into that opt-in page on our website to now we get sometimes as many as 8 patients a week that they see our stuff on Facebook and now they're coming over to our website and doing that opt-in page. So ramping up our social media, again, and just very generic, here's what our site's about. Sometimes they're funny little comics, sometimes now it's growing organically, but we did have to pay for some Facebook ads and put some money of our own into doing that. But it's paying off months later.
Not too much money though. What was it?
Really, honestly, the photographer was a couple $100, and the Facebook ads, you can run them for about $400 to $500 a month through an actual professional Facebook ad. You can boost your own posts, but I would suggest actually paying a company to do those ads professionally. So that's how it's paid off, and it's just continuing to grow every month as now people organically are liking and sharing. But it would have just, to get from 50 to, and like I said, now we're over 500. But those last 70 patients, once we stopped running the Facebook ads, those last 70 have come all organically and all within a couple months. So you can just exponentially grow a lot quicker with 1 or 2 months of a Facebook ad.
That's momentum. So, all right, let's talk to people watching this are presumably not in the place you're at right now. If you were talking to yourself a year or two ago, what's the best way to start? I mean, a lot of times a project like this, especially if you're sort of shifting your focus, that's that blank page mentality. It's hard to know how to start and get the momentum going. So what's the first thing somebody should do at the end of this webinar if they want to try and do some of what you're doing?
Sure. I'll say how I started is, so I have to run a company, right? So I don't have the time to be on Facebook all the time, or Instagram or Twitter. So I found a great Facebook administrator, or I should say social media administrator, because she does across all three platforms. She works a couple hours a week for me to monitor our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter feeds. So that was the first stuff, and it was just to start getting content up on our social media, because
Hey,
you
what
don't
kind
want
of
people.
content again? Talk a little more about the content.
Sure. So sometimes if we're running a urinary tract infection study, which we'll be starting here soon, so I know that's coming, so I'll let her know, hey, soon we're going to be starting about it. She will post information like, what is urinary tract infection? What are common things? So again, not study specific, so we can put that content on without having to go through an IRB. It's more informational. Sometimes if we've done a rare disease study like myasthenia gravis, she did a lot of posts, and she'd cross-post with the various patient advocacy groups for those rare diseases. So she's pulling content. The ones that get the best response are inspirational ones, where it's a quote of somebody famous or whatnot that's an inspirational quote, or funny ones. And this one she cross-posted from the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation, but I always love it. It's a saying that says, it's okay to fall apart. Tacos fall apart and we still love them. And it was just so cute. And the engagement was like, because it was just an adorable post, for a disease that's pretty tough to deal with and battle with. And so it really got a lot of engagement. So funny and inspirational ones actually get the most. So that'd be my first step, is find a good Facebook administrator that can put some good generic content on there. Then the second step is I would hire a professional photographer. So don't get your dad or mom or somebody, get somebody that's good, unless your dad or mom are professionals. Then, have them come in, and we had some studio pictures taken. We had some within our clinic taken, and we used those to write they call it a long form advertisement. And again, the company that you go to for Facebook ads, and there's a lot of them out there, they'll write the copy for you. And it was basically, here, this is who we are, this is what we're about, this is how you can find us. And it was what they call a long form ad on Facebook. And it showed a couple of our pictures, and they did a couple different versions. And then that got placed for about 2 to 3 months, I believe. And it was about $400 to $500 a month for each of those months. But like I said, we went from having 50 people liking our business page to 430 almost overnight within those 3 months. And then we stopped running the ad. Now we have over 500, and they're liking and sharing, but because we already have that base built, we're able to grow it so much quicker. So that'd be the way I would suggest they start if they want to kind of do and then you have to have a web page you direct them to. So actually back up, first and foremost, if you don't already have a web page, which I think most people do.
We should.
You really should. If you don't, that's step number one. Make sure that there's a patient opt-in page where they can put their name, their email address, and a phone number. Don't ask for any more information. They won't put it. Your recruitment specialist can give them a call to get more information. But that's saying, hey, I'm interested in being part of a clinical study and I want somebody to call me. Because those are your Facebook ads and your Facebook content will point to that part of your web page. And again, so these Facebook ads, I have another metric I will give you. Before we started, we had about 336 page views on our web page a month. So 336 people going to our website a month. Now we average about 3,000 monthly views a month. With no paid, we're not doing paid Facebook anymore. We have about 3,000, and during those ads, it was as high as 4,000 to 5,000 page views per month going to our website. So it's worth it. It really does pay off.
Yeah, clearly you've got some metrics and you've talked about before and after, but there is obviously a business reason, and you can see the impact of this has improved the pipeline for you, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, every time one of those patients goes and puts it into the form, my recruitment specialist then does call them, usually within 24 hours. And then we'll get their, what studies are you interested in? What are your, what indications are you looking at? Things like that. And then that recruitment specialist puts their information into our database. So if we can enroll them in a study at that time, absolutely, it just paid for itself. If we can't, we've just built up our database. And as anybody in marketing knows, your database is that's the golden ticket right there. So I think I just decided, you know, marketing the studies was playing the short game. And I really wanted to transition it into let's market our site, and that's playing the long game. And I think it's worth investing a few dollars to do so.
Absolutely. This is really great stuff. We've been speaking here with Jill Heinz. She's the president of Family Care Research in Boise, Idaho. Jill, I want to thank you for these really timely tips. And I like too, how it's granular, and it's about focus and ways you can actually do this. This is not just sort of vague information, very, very actionable information. Really, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.